We're bringing out the latest from the Bundy Ranch, where the militia has arrived in support of Cliven Bundy in his standoff against the federal government, where the Bureau of Land Management has surrounded his ranch with snipers, helicopters, and heavy equipment. Governor Sandoval and Senator Dean Heller have condemned the actions of the BLM, and the governor has released a statement. He said, "No cow justifies the atmosphere of intimidation which currently exists, nor the limitation of constitutional rights that are sacred to all Nevadans." However, Sheriff Richard Mack of the Constitutional Sheriffs and Peace Officers Association has declared that the governor's words to be just that, words, and that immediate action on the part of the governor should be taken to call off the pending range war. Radio host Pete Santilli of the Guerrilla Media Network is standing by on the scene where the militia has arrived to support the Bundy family. However, Rusty Hill, a former land broker who worked in that area for nearly 20 years, issued this report to our newsroom. He says, "It's not about the turtles, it's about water. There are developers working for military contractors that want the land and water for mining weapons-grade minerals for industry. They want to sell the land by the highway for real estate development because it's close to I-15. And the Bundys have been refusing to sell what they actually own directly for over 20 years. Many buyers sent me out there with crazy offers for that land for many years. It's prime real estate, not worthless desert. There is a natural gas pipeline going through there and lots of water underground too. Somebody connected to a military corporation is using political power and the BLM to muscle those people out." We go now to Pete Santilli on the scene where the militia has arrived. Pete, what is the latest from the ground there?
Okay, it's obviously the past 24 hours since you and I spoke, a lot has happened. So please feel free to interject as we go here. Yesterday, obviously, there was, I called it a riot, and it's safe to say that anybody that takes a look at video that I took right in the middle of the melee, that we were surrounded, actually, in fact, was standing right in the middle of it, wanted to document everything that we possibly could. But the protest that ensued yesterday was to do the following. We got unconfirmed reports, and we wanted to have it investigated. I say we as people wanted to investigate whether or not the BLM is actually burying dead cattle. All right, a couple of things happened. They are basically pressing the envelope with these cattle, who are not accustomed to being corralled up at the pace at which they're being corralled up. And some of these cattle have been so stressed that it is 99.99% certain that some of them will have died. Now, these BLM goons in their caravans of 20 vehicles are going up into the hills, and they're taking backhoes, and they're taking dump trucks. And we wanted to essentially intervene and have a supervisor keep the convoy there, and we were going to contact the sheriff's department to have it investigated. Have a constitutional sheriff investigate whether or not they were actually breaking the law and burying cattle carcasses. What happened was I physically wanted to, interject. I wanted to speak to the supervisor. I actually called to speak with a supervisor. I was going to dial 911, have a sheriff on the site, and we had a strike team, which was around that convoy, and would not let them pass peacefully. Now, we'll talk about what the results of my intervention was. But what happened yesterday, in the most incredible show of force that I have ever personally witnessed to, and I've been in some pretty large riots in major stadiums during heavy metal concerts and things like that. I've never seen such a thing. These guys were outfitted with their ARs, they're outfitted with their tasers. In fact, multiple people were thrown to the ground, tased, the dogs were out, and I, in fact, had two ARs pointed at the backside of my head on both sides, and that was documented by Lieutenant Colonel Roy Potter, as a matter of fact. So this is what happened yesterday. Now, this is important to tell this story. Why? Because as a result of your coverage of this news story and it getting out to a lot of people, the BLM actually watched your news report. They told me that this morning, and boy, were they pissed. They were very upset. And I actually had a pretty lengthy discussion. I was almost arrested this morning because I interfered with convoy yesterday.
So is the BLM interfering now with the press?
The BLM, as of this morning, I'm going to state this for the record. I have a relationship with them. I told them that when I'm out in the field, I've been given specific instructions not to interfere with cowboys. Me personally, if I'm going to document this stuff in my capacity as the media, I'm not going to place my vehicle in front of the convoy. Now, yesterday, I was operating more in a law enforcement capacity. We, the people, are our last line of defense at this point.
Well, Pete, that brings me to the initial question about the militia arriving on the scene. How many militia do you believe to be there, and in what capacity are they functioning?
I'm going to say there's not enough militia here. Okay, there's not enough militia here for the following reasons. We have thousands and thousands of organized, very responsible constitutional militia. Now, the exact numbers that are here, they're trickling in little by little. But where we will fail in this effort to defend not only this land, the Bundy family, and our constitutional right as we the people, where we will fail is for us not to at least match the overwhelming force that's been put out here by the BLM. I would say right now on the property and milling around, we probably have 50 militia members. And they're, as far as them being prepared to defend themselves and the peaceful protesters, that's what they're prepared to do. But it's not going to be a shoot 'em up war here by no means.
Now, Pete, I had mentioned the report from Rusty Hill, the land broker, and he mentioned that developers working for military contractors want that land for mining weapons-grade materials. Now, we know that the BLM has private contractors working with them to round up this cattle. Do you have any indication of what corporations that these contractors may be working for?
Okay, from what I understand, this is what I've been told, and I've also been able to confirm in a couple of instances whereby these cowboys, these contractors, have been contracted by the U.S. government, independent, but there's not a large corporation per se. There's a lot of independent cowboys. It's a highly specialized field, of course. So these independent contractors have been contracted by the U.S. government. They purchased brand new vehicles. I'm talking like $80,000 pickup trucks, trailers, and so on. And they're at the BLM compound. So we have, a very strong partnership that exists between the federal government and these contracted, essentially treasonous bastards.
Now, Pete, the helicopters that have been seen and we have photographs of, they are unmarked helicopters. Are the cowboys using helicopters to round up the cattle, and then this is what's causing them to be stressed?
So I don't know if I mentioned this to you yesterday, but this has also been confirmed by local law enforcement, that the BLM, okay, this is what has been told to us, that the BLM has essentially out on the property special forces personnel and corporate mercenaries that are outfitted in BLM uniforms with badges, okay? So whether or not they're temporary to hire, or I don't know what the exact relationship is, employer-employee relationship, we've got special forces guys out here.
Are we speaking sort of in the sense of Blackwater?
That's the capacity that I'm referring to. Yes, they are former special forces who are, yes, and I'm saying corporate mercenaries as in, I didn't want to use a name, but yeah, a Z-type corporation, a Blackwater-type corporation to assist with surveillance, as well as security. Okay, so in that capacity, they're working with corporations. Now, Gary, you just confirmed something that I said a couple of days ago. That it's not I suspect that it may not be about the tortoise. It may not be about a lawsuit. It may be about a corporate interest that we will find out about for years down the road. Maybe fracking will take place here on this property in 5 years. And that's why there's been such a strong effort, a strong, heavy-handed effort by the federal government and these goons that work for them in violation of our U.S. Constitution, and especially in violation of the constitutional rights of the people that live in this general vicinity and in the United States, for that fact.
Now, Pete, what is the plan for the day? Has any press conferences been scheduled, or any actions by the militia or the BLM, for that matter?
The actions of the militia, we need a show of force. Our main objective, let me tell you what the objective is, whether it be militia or non-militia. We are American citizens who here have all sworn to uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States. Okay. The militia members and the protesters, I would pretty much say, are going to do the same thing in an act of civil disobedience. Okay. They're going to meet up with these BLM personnel. Now, last night we did a recon mission, and we went to the local hotels. We know where they're staying. They have hundreds and hundreds of vehicles, and they have hundreds of staff from the BLM that have booked hotels for the next 2 weeks. The point of the day today is to build up, of course, more strike teams, we're calling them. Have strike teams go out.
So wait, Pete, are you saying that the BLM is actually building up a greater infrastructure to retaliate against the protesters and militia on the scene?
Okay, this is what I was told
because we do know the governor has denounced the BLM's activities. He hasn't called them off officially yet.
Yes, yes, he has not. The governor has recognized exactly. This is not just a tragic story. This is a matter of constitutionality at this point. The BLM is, the governor's spoken out about it. We have a lot of politicians right now that recognize exactly what is happening here, what needs to be done. The BLM needs to vacate immediately. The BLM, as of this morning, as I spoke to them, told me as a result of yesterday's actions that if anything ever takes place like it did yesterday, that it will be even worse. There will be an escalation. People will be arrested, and they actually threatened me with arrest this morning. I was threatened with arrest because I interfered with a convoy, and I tried to obstruct justice or whatever it was that they were trying to do. I was trying to obstruct that convoy. So they have escalated the rhetoric.
And yesterday they had actually tased and attacked a cancer victim, as well as a pregnant woman. Do you have any more detail on the fate of the individuals who were assaulted yesterday by BLM?
To address those issues, in fact, I went there to meet with their command structure, and I wanted to play the video, and I wanted to demand an internal investigation as to who the person was that threw that 56-year-old cancer patient to the ground. And their response was they actually saved her life.
Okay.
They actually saved her life and got her out of the way of being struck by a vehicle. So therefore, they said that their convoy had the right to proceed through the crowd as they were, and that the hazard was basically prevented by throwing that 56-year-old cancer patient on the ground. That's the way it was stated. Here's another thing. I specifically told the BLM that the reason why we wanted to speak with the supervisor of that convoy is because we believe that crimes had been committed. And Gary, that's exactly why they blew through that crowd. We wanted to stop them. That's why things escalated. They have zero accountability to the law, just like any other federal agency, Gary.
All right, Pete.
Zero accountability.
Do you have any? We're up against the clock. Do you have any last-minute report here?
Last-minute report is that I'm going to say this again. If we do not, and we have the people within our general vicinity that are on Twitter and on Facebook, and they're wanting to get updates and reports, even with a 100-mile radius of me. If we do not get out here and show force peacefully, just in strength and numbers, then we will surrender our constitutional rights to the federal government. Now, if we allow them to continuously outnumber us, they will have free reign here on the open range. We're going to continue to stay here, fight the fight, do it peacefully, and we hope that everybody gets in their vehicle and gets out here if you can possibly get out here in a short time frame. But thanks a lot for your coverage, Gary, and bringing awareness to the issues.
All right, Pete, thanks for filing that report with us here. Keep it on this channel. We'll bring you more details as they unfold.